Hey. Welcome. This is Urban Politics, and I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. As soon as you have a chance, please let your feet do the walking. Take your little cell phone over there to YouTube. Like and subscribe. Phys Ed Music, Urban Politics. Without further ado, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive. We got all types of tasty and delicious politics to talk about. But before I get into politics, let's just talk about the weekend that we just had. Now, usually I come to you and I'm suit and tied up, right? Because that's the way I like to do it. I like to be as sharp as a tack when I come to deliver the news to you. But ladies and gentlemen, I had to rush to do it, right? Have my notes wrote and all that, but I've been doing all types of stuff this weekend because there's a million things going on in the city, right? Sure enough, first of all, you can look at my shirt and you know what it is. Look, let me stand up here so you can see it. It's Gemini season, ladies and gentlemen, Gemini season, right? And that is from May 22nd to June 21st. Yes. So please, love on the Geminis in your life. Thank them. Some of you all are probably afraid of them. Gemini is a sign of the twin. I ain't gonna lie. Some of us is off the chain. But Geminis are good people. It is Gemini season, so I've been busy. You know what I'm saying? My son had a birthday. I had a birthday. My mom had a birthday. Juneteenth. Pride, my other son's graduating and stuff like that. So just a million things going on. I did not have time, you know what I'm saying, to get as clean as I usually get. But like I said, I want to represent for the Geminis. You know, my Gemini brethren and sisterin out there. So there it is. Gemini season. What's that number one zodiac sign? Gemini. All right. Enough of that. Let's roll right into the news, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Let's talk about these January 6th hearings. I hope you've been paying attention. Looks like 20 million people watched. And I'm sure the GOP did not like that because if you watch Fox News and some of these other outlets, conservative outlets, all they could talk about is how it was boring and no one was going to, not watch all the other interesting things they're on TV to watch or whatever and watch the hearings. But 20 million people tuned in. The last episode of The Apprentice only got 4.6 million people. So they said Trump was pretty peeved about that. He didn't like that. So Ivanka said that she believed Bill Barr when he said that there was no fraud. If you watch, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to paraphrase or whatever because it's a family show. But Bill Barr, basically he had said that, it was BS. He said it was bullish. And he did not censor himself at all. He told the president that these accusations of fraud or whatever are unfounded. There is no evidence of fraud. He told Trump that. Oh well. When he said it, Trump's daughter Ivanka, she said she believed him. You know what I'm saying? She said, I respected Bill Barr. I respect Bill Barr. I respect his opinion. So when the man said it's bullish and it's unfounded, I believe that and I respected that. So there's that. Trump didn't like that either. Kevin McCarthy asked Trump. Now, we all know this. If you've been following this thing, you know this. But it was interesting again to hear it, the way that they talked about it at these particular hearings. Say Kevin McCarthy asked Trump to do something about all the people storming the Capitol and really, just to call his people off. And he responded to him basically saying, Mike Pence should be hung. They had the gallows there. They were screaming. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. They were coming after Pence. They're coming after Pelosi. And Trump has the audacity to sit there and say, well, he didn't do what I wanted him to do. So guess what? Maybe he deserves to be hung. Maybe they're right. Wow, ain't that something? But you know what? With friends like Trump, who needs enemies, right? So Trump told Pence, if you don't do this, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I thought that was hilarious because hold up. I didn't know Trump and Pence were friends. I don't think Pence knew Trump and Pence were friends. Mike Pence should have said to Trump, for real, we're friends? Didn't you just talk about my wife? And everywhere you go, you call me a wuss and you know what I'm saying, and act like I'm this Mel Batos, just a lame guy or whatever who you really didn't want as vice president, but they twisted your arm to make you vice president anyway, but we're friends? Really? And you don't want to be. And then number two, how third grade is that? If you don't do this for me, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Well, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, with friends like Trump, who needs enemies? So Pence had nothing to lose there. That was funny that Trump even thought that was a playing card. We won't be friends anymore. Well, it sucks being your friend anyway. You're the worst friend ever. Mike Pence, and you got to think about it. At the end of the day, Mike Pence was not a wuss. He went against his gang, and he went against his gang leader. That's something. Right there. Now, here's a guy, Mike Pence. I do not agree with him politically at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But when the rubber hit the road, when we needed a guy to have the courage of his convictions, to have a little testicular fortitude, who had it? But Mr. Pence. You know? I mean, this guy went against his gang, and he went against his gang leader. That's tough right there. This dude's a Republican. And he told the Republican president, I will not do your bidding. Okay? He went against the whole GOP. Most of them were in bed on this, as we've seen, you know, from the documentation and from the, you know what I'm saying, and from the investigation. So all of these guys were selling, all them idiots at Fox News and all these other Republicans and, you know, Clarence Thomas's wife and all these other people were in on this. He told all of them, no, I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to serve the people and I'm going to let the will of the people be done. That took some cojones. And I never thought I'd be saying that about the likes of Mike Pence, but it took some cojones. And guess what? We would all be in a lot worse place right now if that one man had not had the courage of his convictions and did the right thing. Did right by the American people. He did that. Mike Pence. Oh well, what do you want? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? Some of that. Hats off to Mr. Pence there for having a backbone. We'll see what that does for him in 2024. I don't think it's going to help much. But we'll talk about 2024 more in a minute. But hold on. Let's move on and talk about something else. Today, this Sunday, while I'm talking to you, is Father's Day, right? Let's talk about Father's Day. A lot of people say it's being a father is a thankless job. I've went on record as agreeing with that. You know, I think I heard Chris Rock say that first. It's a thankless job, like being a teacher and stuff like that. And I agree. When you're a father, it is a thankless job. But fathers don't do it for the thank you. They don't do it for the fanfare. I'm going to get into that in a minute here. Check this out. First of all, Father's Day is the 20th celebrated holiday. It's number 20. Can you even think of 20 holidays? Well, if you can, Father's Day is at the end of all 20 of them. So it's the 20th celebrated holiday. Mother's Day is number 2. Only second to what? What's the number 1 holiday, celebrated? Christmas. Duh. Ain't nobody to tell you that. So think about that. It's Jesus, then your mother. When I heard that, I thought to myself, that sounds about right. Okay. So there are 2 million single fathers in the U.S. right now. So that's huge right there. 2 million single men raising kids by themselves. More fathers taking family leave from their jobs and stuff like that. That's a good thing. You know, especially when, say you even have a family, you know what I'm saying, and the man and the woman are together. When that woman has that baby, she needs a lot of help with that baby, especially in those beginning, days, weeks, months. Because that's when it's really hard. When they're infants, and I mean, they can literally do absolutely nothing for themselves. That's when you really need a mom and a dad working together, you know what I'm saying, to provide support for that child. So the fact that you got more men taking family leave from jobs, that is appropriate. That is definitely the way it should be. I'm glad to see that. They were saying Father's Day was started by a woman by the name of Sonora Smart Dodd. She was inspired by a sermon about Mother's Day. So it took 62 years to get Father's Day to become a national holiday. But she did it and forever is known as the mother of Father's Day. So this lady, Sonora Smart Dodd, she was the one, went on a crusade. It took her, 62 years when she was finally able to do it and make the federal government recognize Father's Day as a national holiday. Why is this a big deal to her? It might have been because she was herself raised by a single dad. So I guess she saw the importance of shining a light on fathers and letting fathers know that they are loved, that they are valued, that they are respected, right? So when you see this, though, what does it make you think about? Think of all the jokes and stuff that people say about Father's Day. Inevitably, on Father's Day, you have plenty of ladies coming out talking about how, I'm dad and mom because he ain't never been here with a dead baby. And then you heard a lot of, or I've seen a lot of women even poo-pooing that and saying, don't do that. We don't need that. If you want to talk about your deadbeat baby dad or whatever, don't do it on Father's Day. Father's Day is a day for fathers. It's a day for good fathers, right? So that's what's up. Now, men make jokes all the time about how Father's Day is a joke. Guy on the radio, I think his name is Headcrack. That's a funny brother. He gonna say, he was talking about this weekend, right? And he said, yeah, Father's Day is this weekend. It's gonna be also celebrated, with Juneteenth, because of course fathers can't have nothing to themselves. That was funny. That was hilarious. We make jokes like that, but guess what? At the end of the day, most fathers don't care. Don't even care. You know what I'm saying? We get that it's a thankless job, and most men are not necessarily looking for a thank you. A while ago on TikTok, there was a guy talking about it, and he was talking about how, and I've talked about it on the show, how this woman was saying men are this, men are that. He said, well, you're talking about 1% of men. He said 1% of men are these extremely rich a-holes who run around here, trampling on women and trampling on women's rights. He said most men are somewhere working hard to feed a family. You know what I'm saying? Worried about their wife and children and how they're going to support them and take care of them. And that's why they're doing a job and doing a hard job that they hate. But they do it every day. You know why? Because it is their responsibility. It's a responsibility that they chose. And it's a responsibility that they are honored to live up to. Any woman who you fooled or tricked into spending time with you as a man and having children for you, she deserves a good man, right? So she deserves you to be at your best as a man. So that's what real men are out here doing. Real fathers are out here. That's what they're doing it. They're doing it for the women in their lives. They're doing it for the children in their lives. Who didn't ask to be here? They did not ask to be here. So the least you can do is be the best father that you can be. And my mom always told me your best as a parent isn't good enough. So at least do your best. So to all the fathers out there, real fathers, real men, I see you, I feel you, and guess what? It is a thankless job, but like I told some of my boys, guess what? We got to thank each other. So I thank you. Urban Politics thanks you for being a good man, for being a good father, because I understand a lot of times when you're getting up in the morning, you go into that job that you hate, you asking yourself why. I seen that on TikTok too. Look at your screensaver on your phone. That's the reason you getting up early and going to work. And probably it's going to be a picture of your kids. It's going to be a picture of your kids. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a real father. You're a real man. And you want to handle and fulfill your responsibility to these kids. You want to handle and fulfill your responsibility to this woman. So there it is. You know what I'm saying? And we don't do it for the fanfare. We don't do it for the accolades. I've never heard my father once say, well, I pay all my bills. Never heard that come out of my dad's mouth, because my dad's probably like, that's a given. Why would I say that? I've never heard my father say that. My father has never said, well, I take care of my kids. That ain't never came out of my dad's mouth. Because in my dad's mind, that's a given. You know what I'm saying? A bear takes care of his cubs. You better than an animal, ain't you? So come on now. You don't get a cookie for taking care of your kids or paying your bills, right? Because these are your responsibilities as a man. But see, that word gets thrown around a lot. Man. And you're not a man just because you have male genitalia or because you created a child that you may or may not take care of. These things do not make you a man. The stuff I talked about previously, that makes you a man. Handling these responsibilities. Getting up every day and doing something that you don't necessarily love because you have people to support and people to take care of, and you have an allegiance to them and you owe them that, so you do that because it's a part of your responsibility. It's a part of being a man. It's a part of being a father, right? Right. So with that said, love on your fathers. Happy Father's Day. Moving on. Let's talk about guns. Been a lot of talk about guns. You know what I'm saying? Had that mass shooting in Uvalde. They said there's been some since then. These days, they were saying a mass shooting has to have, at least 3 or 4 people, or it doesn't even make the news. It's not even going to make the news. So a lot of these shootings that I'm talking about, you haven't even seen because you have to dig for them. You got to go looking for them. Because these days, if only 3 or 4 people get shot, I guess it's not worth the news this time. So as sad as that is, that's where we're in this country. But they're commonplace and they happen all the time. Blows me away. Check this out. 44% of Americans say mass shootings are a part of having a free society. That's not true. We've had a free society for years without mass shootings. How are we able to do that? Probably had something to do with guns not being readily available to any idiot who wants to get one, right? But people are going to sit here and say, mass shootings, got a free society. It's inevitable. What can we do? I don't know, man. When people were getting on planes and blowing people up with planes, we came with all types of restrictions to get on a plane, and that stopped that, didn't it? Why wouldn't it work for guns? Yeah, nobody even wants to discuss that or delve into that. Why? Because that's not the meat of that sandwich. The meat of that sandwich is the ungodly amounts of money that the NRA gives our congressmen and women, and that's not going anywhere. And you know what I'm saying? As long as that's a factor, there's never going to be any movement on this gun thing. So a TI is what a TI is. Even when, I talked to my Republican friend, you know what I'm saying, and he agrees with me, he agrees with background checks. He agrees that no one under 21 should be able to buy an assault rifle. Some of this stuff is stuff that people across the board agree on. Why is it that we can't get any legislation moved on it? The NRA. They have bought our congressmen and women. So a TI is what a TI is, and that's really, really sad. But miss me with these justifications. You know what I'm saying? Talking about that's a part of a free society. That is stupid. Part of a free society. You know what I'm saying? For years and years and for thousands of years, we've had free societies. Guess what? No mass shootings. Until any idiot who wanted one could just grab a gun out of anywhere. So a TI is what a TI is. DeWine signed legislation not too long ago, right here in the great state of Ohio, saying that teachers could be armed in schools. Oh my God. That is a horrible idea. So what's better for our kids? Crossfire. I've said that. I made that joke on this show. It's not a joke. I think that's sad. I think it's pathetic. I'm just like DeWine. Why don't you just deal with the elephant in the room, which is maybe having some legislation against these assault rifles and these long guns and some of this other stuff that they talk about. Let's talk about that. Not stupid stuff like this. Arming teachers? Are you serious? I can't think of one teacher I ever had who I think it'd be a good idea to arm. And I had great teachers. I had teachers who loved me, who cared for me. I went to private schools most of my life. I had really good teachers. Because when you go to a private school, they assume that everyone's going to college. When you go to public school, they assume no one's going to college. I heard that from a public school teacher. So and I agree with that. I had great teachers in my private schools. I don't want any of them having a gun in the name of protecting children or anything else in the school with the children. That is a bad idea. That is a stupid idea. And that is the right's way of just getting around the real issue of having some comprehensive gun reform, bipartisan legislation. The only thing that can save a dying nation that's killing itself. Quote from me. Anyway, moving on. That's the thing about guns. So that's sad. That's going on right here in my state. Right here in the great state of Ohio. DeWine, instead of dealing with gun legislation, he said, well, you know what? If districts are okay with it, if it's something they want to explore, arming teachers, as long as the teachers take a class, let's go ahead and arm the teachers. Anyway, moving on. Last thing I want to talk about before I get into my IPA of the week, and I got a good one. Let's talk about the 4th of July. It'll be coming up in a minute here. Like most black people, I haven't been a fan of the 4th of July, not all through my life. I remember being younger and going to the Boom downtown Columbus and seeing the fireworks and all that good stuff. Good stuff. I was never much of a patriot, necessarily patriotic when it comes to the 4th of July. And of course, a lot of black people will take the stance that, well, I guess, even the stance before what I'm about to talk about had happened, there were people who had spoke against the 4th of July because they're like, it was the biggest form of hypocrisy in America, they thought. Because they were like, how can you have this holiday that celebrates freedom, but you're enslaving a whole group of people? You're enslaving, African Americans. You're enslaving African-born Americans. You know what I mean? But you're talking about freedom. You know what I'm saying? He'll say 4th of July and all that. So a lot of black people wasn't feeling that, right? But now listen. The 4th of July was a black holiday after the Civil War in 1865. I had no idea this. Charleston, South Carolina had huge celebrations. Newly freed slaves had an unbridled sense of patriotism since they were no longer in bondage, which makes sense, doesn't it? All these black folk were happy that they were free. So now the 4th of July is something to celebrate. Here's America, looks like trying to lightweight live up to its promise of every man created equal. Not necessarily, we're out of bondage, but we're still being treated like garbage, but at least we're not enslaved anymore. So baby steps, baby steps. So obviously it's how the black people this time were thinking. So they were having these huge celebrations because they were happy about it. But Southern whites hated these celebrations and would meet them with extreme violence, right? So the U.S. government outlawed these black celebrations of the 4th of July, and that's very American of them, isn't it? Let's not take care of the people who are hurting other people when they're just trying to celebrate this quote unquote great nation. No, let's get rid of the celebration. Yeah, and I'm probably sure that's because the celebration was being held by people who look a lot like me and not like people who don't look like me. So the government said we'll just get rid of the celebration rather than, prosecute and hold accountable the people who are hurting the people trying to celebrate America. Anyway, that's interesting to think of. But you know what? I wasn't necessarily surprised when I heard that. One, this is another reason that we need that critical race theory, because we all need to know this. I did not know that, the 4th of July was a big holiday with black people, after the Civil War, and it was because, we had been freed, and that's a big deal right there. That's something to know. And then the fact that a lot of us don't want to celebrate it now, you almost feel like, hold up, maybe we should take it back. There was a time there that we had so much revelry and had big parties during the 4th and stuff like that, to where the federal government came and took it away from us. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these, poor Southern racist whites didn't like the fact that black people were happy that they weren't in servitude anymore. This is some history we need to know. Maybe we could take the 4th back. With that said, there's a sister. She's on TikTok, and I've seen some people other places talking about a boycott. They want to boycott the 4th of July, right? They said black people should just stay at home, don't do anything. I'm like, well, look, I usually barbecue on the 4th, but this will be food I probably bought like 2 weeks ago. Does that count? Is that a big deal? I'm still part of the boycott because I think it's a good idea. She wants to do it. They're talking about doing it to shine a light on injustices, to shine a light on police violence against people of color. I'm down with it, but it has to be real. We have to have some real life solidarity, black folk. There was supposed to be a boycott of the NFL. It didn't happen. Brothers said, I gotta see my football. I gotta watch my football. And what happened? They watched football and come on, man. They treat us like garbage. And brothers are still watching the NFL. And I say that just from the reporting I've done on this show. I don't watch football. But if you watch my show and have listened to my reporting and know anything about the NFL, and you're black and you're still watching it or patronizing it, you should have your head examined and your black card taken. I said it. There it is. Point being, we got to do something. And if we don't stand for something, we fall for anything. So, man, if we can have some solidarity here and really have this boycott of, all goods and services or whatever that America, has to offer or that we're indulging in this country, that'd be powerful. It would send a message. Okay, so let's see what happens. I know I'm going to do my part. I ain't going to do nothing on the 4th, but I never do anything on the 4th, so that ain't going to be different for me. Anyway, moving on. Let's get right into my IPA of the week, and then I'm going to get on up out of here. My IPA of the week is a delicious Heart State IPA. It is a Neapolitan double sweet milk stout. I told you I've been on this milk stout kick lately. Now, I got this with some of those other stouts that I reviewed, and they came in like a pack of 4. $16 for this 4-pack. But it was delicious. And worth every penny? Worth every penny. I would have liked it to be a little cheaper. But worth every penny. This right here, this Neapolitan double sweet milk stout, roasty, sweet, full, and dark. I agree. Listen here. What are they saying about it? It says, dark like an Arctic night, but still easy and quaffable like a summer breeze. Quaffable. Quaffable. I think I'm saying that right. Quaffable. It's quaffable. Interesting. They're calling it quaffable. I'd call it delicious. This is some good stuff right here. The alcohol volume is 10.5. My lord. So that's like a glass of wine. I want to say like a glass of Zinfandel or something like that. Wine is usually 10% alcohol or whatever. So this is 10.5. This is double what most beers would be. But this is really, really good. Like I said, it's not even an IPA, it's a milk stout. I've been on them milk stouts lately, and this is a real good one. Heart State, they got this 4-pack. It's really good. You'll see these cans looking like this. Look, it looks all jazzy and executive and stuff. Delicious. And it is everything that they claim it is. It is roasty. It is sweet. It is full. It is dark. It is delicious. So if you got some money, you know what I'm saying, and you want to drink something really, really good, you run to the store and get you this Heart State Neapolitan Double Sweet Milk Stout. Good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. That is my time. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here has been Urban Politics, where politics lives. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. As soon as you have a chance, please take your little cell phone over to YouTube, like and subscribe. I am Fizz Ed Music, and this is Urban Politics. And as always, see you around like a donut.